The Ukrainian Air Force aircraft dealt a very painful blow to the occupiers in the village of Kulbaki in the Kursk region. A secret warehouse of the Russian armed forces was destroyed. This was reported by the Z Resource Northern Channel, which is believed to be associated with the Russian occupation army. There was a building and now it's gone. There was a warehouse there, not even with ammunition or military equipment, but with something more important: electronic warfare systems, expensive electronics. It was kept in absolute secrecy. There was no sign of anything, wrote Northern Channel. He noted that recently the Ukrainian armed forces have been hitting particularly important targets of the Russian armed forces in the Kursk region with great precision. The effectiveness is amazing. They are not just striking, but purely on the basis of a tip from specific people. By the way, at night they struck the paratroopers' location in Mariino, Z Channel reported. Recall, Ukrainian aviation delivered a precision strike on Russian military positions in the village of Kulbaki in the Kursk region. According to preliminary reports, 4 GBU-39 precision-guided bombs were dropped on the enemy's position, causing significant losses among personnel and equipment of the Russian army. The village of Kulbaki, located in the border Kursk region, has recently been used as a site for rotation and accumulation of troops and ammunition. Analysis of the video shows that 4 guided bombs were fired sequentially at the upper part of the building. All hits were accurate, which led to the complete destruction of the building. As for the weapons used, it can be assumed that these could have been high-precision GBU-39/B SDBs, which are regularly used by the Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine to deliver pinpoint strikes on enemy targets. The GBU-39/B small-diameter bomb is an American high-precision air-to-surface glide bomb developed by Boeing to increase firepower without the need for heavy ammunition. Due to its small size as well as high accuracy, it allows the bomber to avoid entering the enemy air defense zone. Due to its low weight and compact size, the bomb allows carrier aircraft to carry up to 4 SDBs instead of one standard 500-pound JDAM bomb. This significantly increases the density of target destruction per airstrike. Russia is creating a risk for its nuclear force with its own hands. By deploying elements of its nuclear triad in the war against Ukraine, it is turning its strategic delivery systems into legitimate military targets, says expert Oleksiy Izak from Ukraine's National Institute for Strategic Studies. Espresso reports. Ukrainian strike drones and precision-guided weapons are increasingly destroying Russian aircraft and dual-use missile systems, those capable of carrying both conventional and nuclear warheads. This trend became especially evident after Ukraine's large-scale Operation Spiderweb, a series of precision strikes on Russia's strategic air bases. These attacks exposed the vulnerability of sites previously believed to be immune to any assault. It was only after this campaign that Moscow began warning of a threat to Russia's nuclear security. On the 1st of June, Ukraine's security service carried out a special operation that struck 41 aircraft, part of Russia's nuclear triad. The mission has become a symbol of a new era of asymmetric warfare, where innovative drone systems and high-tech solutions allow a non-nuclear nation to effectively challenge a nuclear power state. But the expert is convinced if Russia itself involves potential nuclear delivery systems in a conventional war, it forfeits its so-called nuclear immunity. Moscow employs nuclear force components in its war effort. Russian dual-use systems, Iskander-M, Iskander-K, Kinzhal missiles, Su-24M, Su-34 and Tu-22M3 bombers are regularly used with conventional warheads to strike targets in Ukraine. Ukraine is systematically destroying and will continue to destroy these systems on the battlefield, and there is no argument the West can make that undermines the logic of Ukraine's actions, says Isaac. In such circumstances, Russia cannot expect that the mere nuclear potential of its systems will grant them any immunity. According to him, Moscow has chosen a dangerous path, invoking nuclear weapons in rhetoric while actively using their delivery systems in a conventional war. But the war against Ukraine has proven these platforms are far from invulnerable. It is not just the strategic bombers that have proven to be large, exposed targets. Even mobile launchers like the Topol-M and Yars are barely protected. For decades, the Kremlin justified its opposition to NATO expansion by claiming that non-nuclear missile deployments near Russian borders would undermine its nuclear security. But now, as Ukrainian drones and missiles destroy nuclear-capable delivery systems deep inside Russia, that argument is losing all credibility. NATO may expand or not, the new vulnerability of Russia's nuclear forces will remain, says Isaac. At the same time, he stresses that no one would target Russia's nuclear triad if it posed no threat. If Russia were to cease its aggression against Ukraine, it would no longer need its strategic arsenals. The aggressor country, Russia, is unable to produce new MiG-31K fighters, which are carriers of Kinzhal aero-ballistic missiles, so any losses are acute for it. This is what the military analytical portal Defense Express, analyzing the Russian occupiers' capabilities in this type of aircraft against the background of the AFU General Staff's report on the attack on the Savaslyka airfield. Recall, General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported that on the night of June the 9th, 2025, the Special Operations Forces, in cooperation with other components of the Defense Forces of Ukraine, struck the Savaslyka airfield and hit at least one MiG-31 and one Su-30/34. Analysts noted that during the war against Ukraine, the Russian Federation tried to build up the MiG-31K fleet. Thus, if at the beginning of 2022, the aggressor country had 12 airplanes of this type, according to some reports, in 2024, the Russian Federation could have up to 24 MiG-31K. In addition, Defense Express adds, it is also worth bearing in mind the information about the appearance of the Russians of MiG-31I Ishim type aircraft. Basis for building up the fleet of MiG-31K and MiG-31I Ishim could be some number of MiG-31s in storage, which, as of 2018, was estimated at 130 to 150 aircraft. However, the publication emphasizes it could predominantly serve as a spare parts graveyard to maintain a fleet of MiG-31B/BM interceptors. The Defense Express also recalled that serial production of MiG-31s stopped in 1993. A total of 500 such airplanes were produced, of which only 150 remain in service now. This demonstrates rather low endurance of MiG-31 in combination with Russian maintenance culture, analysts noted. A separate problem for the Russians is the D-30F6 engines used on the MiG-31. These engines have a service life of only 300 hours, and if in 2014 representatives of the Russian military-industrial complex announced the accumulated stock of D-30F6 for 20 to 30 years, then in 2024 they started talking about the need to completely resume production of such power plants. Based on current data from the Ministry of Defense's GUR, the Russian military-industrial complex currently produces about 10 to 15 Kinzhal missiles per month, with an accumulated stock of 100 units. From this military facility in particular, regularly take off MiG 31K fighters, which are carriers of Kinzhal aeroballistic missiles, the General Staff noted. Preliminary data show that 2 units of enemy aircraft were hit at the airfield. They are likely to be MiG-31 and Su-30/34 airplanes.